talk about it later, but we have a number of proposals that just need to be wrapped up and evaluated and voted on, and we'll get better as time goes on. And there was a number of urgent proposals that needed to get done this month. But anyways, so we have some updates from Chris. Chris wants to talk about rewards for the core team, and then we can move on to the rest of the agenda.
Wonderful. Cody, did you start recording yet or not yet? Okay. Okay. Hello, everybody. Hello, world. Super busy week, like Shanti said. That's why we don't have Shelly and Benny on here. They're in their own room working hard on getting the distribution done so that block rewards can start tomorrow. So super, super excited. One of the things I did want to bring up concerning the distribution, yesterday they started doing the distributions last night, and they distributed, one of the things that they distributed so far is the relay reimbursement. Now, one of the things he didn't do was distribute any relay running rewards to any of the core team members. The reason for that is because we have said that the core team, wouldn't take any of the airdrop rewards. But the relay running was not part of the airdrop rewards. But because it was during the same time and it was close, Benny didn't want to actually send out the reimbursements to the core team runners without approval. So what I want to bring up to you guys is that I would love it for you to decide if the core team that ran relays should be rewarded like everybody else.
Was this like as an individual, not part of the?
Yeah, like it was all our own money, running as individuals.
I'm happy with distribution personally, if it's as an individual.
I am too. I mean, are you talking the whole period from November, or whenever I guess September of last year, or just like the phase 2 period of time that you're looking at? What do you think?
Not exactly sure. I think Benny said it was phase 2. Yeah, because phase one, everybody was rewarded with void tokens and were rewarded in the phase 1. So it would be only phase 2.
I mean, you undertook an actual fiat cost to operate those. I mean, I would think that should be reimbursed. So I'm
Bagman, you got a thought?
Yeah, I see.
Recording magic minutes
in the future for you guys. I mean, it makes sense. It's only it's fair on my account. I mean, there were like at the early stages, there were what, primarily you guys.
Yeah, phase 1 it was mostly us, and then phase 2 we had over 100 relay runners. We did run a bunch of them, but
it was critical infrastructure for the network at the time, and out of pocket.
Exactly, and we already, of course, decided that in MainNet we would all get reimbursed. It was just like this period of time because it was during testnet. It wasn't part of the testnet airdrop, but because it was during the same time, we wanted to be safe, not sorry. So,
right. Yeah. No, that makes sense.
One of the things that we'll do then is that Shanti will do a straw poll, just voting yes or no, just to get recorded that you guys said yes, and that I'll give Wilder and Shelly a chance to vote as well. But just want to kind of talk to you guys about it first. Henry?
Hey, just making sure that this the same limitations that would apply to normal relay runners would apply to what we would get, right? Because we were exempt from some of the caps just because we had a need.
I believe those caps were for phase one. Phase two, the caps were removed. This is why, like,
Oh, yeah. Sure.
Wilder
Sorry.
had crap tons. But
Yeah, no,
yeah.
at just at certain points in time, you had 6 and I had a bunch, and Bill also certainly had a bunch.
Yeah. But that was all for phase one. Phase two, the caps were removed and people could run as many as they wanted.
Yeah, it all makes sense. And regardless of the number, obviously, we still had an expense.
Yeah.
I would just like to see what the total number ends up being, but I think we'd need that in order to approve it anyway.
Jonathan, can you get that from Benny before you ask them? I don't actually know what the final number is. I wasn't paying attention. All I know is that I was told that relay runners were reimbursed last night, and I went to look at my contracts and didn't have one. And then I asked Benny, he's like, "Oh, I held them back," so that's why. Hendrik, do you have another
Sad.
question, or is your hand up still?
My hand is up still. I should lower it. Thank you.
What would you say, Zarmian? Sorry.
I was just saying that was so sad. But
I know. So sad. It's like the old Mother Hubbard went to the cupboard, found the cupboard's bare. Anyway, so that's all for me. I really want to make sure that everybody's watching this, and also all of you guys start spreading how exciting the block rewards are starting tomorrow. And so it's huge, and it's really, really, really exciting. So make sure that you tell all your friends, tell all your community members, maybe tweet about it. I tweeted about it this morning. Write your own tweet. Don't be lazy. And I'll even comment on it, or you can comment on mine. Just let the world know. Back to you, Shanti.
Okay. Okay, thank you. So yes, I'll get that straw poll out taken care of today. Okay, so we have, so I was talking to Scotty earlier today. We have a number of proposals because we had so many urgent ones that need to get passed that need to now be evaluated. So I know he's been doing kind of these tranches of 3 at a time. So we're going to have to up it probably to like 5 or 6 at a time so we can just get them fully evaluated by early next week. So I just wanted to let everyone know, and if you can please be timely with the evaluation so the voting can happen ASAP, that would be super helpful to him. The other announcement from me is that there's several proposals that need to be funded, and we have a new process of basically creating like a token allocation plan for these proposals where we basically outline the milestones, the funding allocated with each milestone, and that will be kept in kept track of both in the proposal tracker and in this new template that people will need to submit. And it's been updated on the website, but I don't think I've shared it with everyone. So I'll circulate the template with everyone here. So the expectation will be like moving forward in the future, whenever we're reviewing a proposal, along with that proposal will essentially be like, this is the applicant's token allocation plan. These are the milestones to success, and this is the funding associated with each milestone, and this allocation plan is how we will disperse funds throughout the lifetime of the project. And it's reflected both in the application and in a Excel spreadsheet that they will be responsible for keeping track of and updating, and essentially emailing to the council whenever they have completed a milestone. They'll be responsible for inputting the supporting documentation so that we can review it and then sign off on it. So I think the easiest way for me to like communicate this is I'll probably just email you all with these new expectations and materials. And I'm just going to be doing the token allocation plan myself for the proposals this month so that we can get them funded. Okay, so that's like my major update is just really try to get the evaluations and the voting done as soon as possible. And
Just a quick comment on that. I tend to make it happen faster if I'm hearing about it through Signal
okay,
for some reason. But yeah,
okay, yeah, I'll communicate it in both places.
but I can be just more on top of my email.
Okay, yeah, that sounds good. I'll have him communicate it also through Signal. Okay, so that's it for my announcements. Now we haven't had time in the past for an open table, open council discussion about anything. And so that's what we can use the time for today. An ongoing topic of conversation in the past couple meetings and past several committee meetings has just been on incentivization programs. And obviously, like the biggest issue right now is how do we get new projects and the buy pressure up. So how do we just, keep that going and incentivize new projects to come on board, but also incentivize, people to just buy the token. So I feel like that would be an interesting point of discussion, a useful one. How do we do better marketing? Marketing is like a big thing, and maybe this is like an area that we can creatively find solutions for the community to help us and get better involved. But I'll let anyone who wants to comment.
One of the things I can do to kind of maybe seed this conversation is talk more about what does it mean to create buy pressure. When you look at overall game theory, like when you're building an economic system like we have with Voy, a lot of people, when you think about getting buy pressure, getting people excited, your mind always goes to how to efficiently give out tokens. Once again, it's one of the ways to get the for marketing and things of that sort. But the other part that is not talked about enough and is actually more important is the sinks. So we talk about the faucets on how to actually get the tokens out, but more so, how do we create more sinks or more ways to use those tokens? A couple of things that are coming in the near term are the NFT games. Yes, there is actually incentives that would be going out to create fun, but the big portion of that is to make sure that we have enough demand for the NFT projects to buy those NFTs, and that's the sync side of things. So we need to think about other ways for there to be syncs. One great way for syncs is for projects to launch tokens, because when a project launches a token, people need Voy to be able to then buy those tokens. So there's a lot of things of that sort, like where you gotta generate that demand as much as you possibly can. And really what we need to focus on is how do we provide utility with Voy that requires those tokens to be able to create that demand. And so we start thinking about things in that side of on that side of the actual economic theory. So I'll just use that to kind of seed it. It's less about marketing. Marketing isn't think is important. We can talk about that as well, but it's the other side of like, what can we do to create demand to spend those tokens, to burn those tokens, to actually trade those tokens in for things of value. It's a hard one, I know, but it's something that to think about for sure. And actually, while you guys think about that, the other thing I want to kind of talk about, to switch topics, and we'll go back to if anybody else comes up with a good idea. I made a tweet this morning about transparency and like security and just like the benefits of blockchain, and specifically around emissions. So Voy and the Voy Foundation did a great job releasing that Medium article that was very transparent about the emissions, what the actual tokens were, like the lockup periods of everything. Right now, Shanti is working on making that translate better onto the blockchain, meaning like splitting each of the different pieces of the pie into different wallets so that people can monitor the different wallets to see like, oh, are we actually are we or the foundation or you guys following the rules? The thing I wrote about this morning, which is something I hinted at and I talked about a lot early on, that I haven't seen any other blockchain do yet, but it feels like, I mean, I think I know why they don't do it, but it feels like a no-brainer, especially for someone that we are trying to be as strict as we are. We're trying to be as community-oriented as we can be and transparent, is to use smart contracts to limit emissions based off of what that was promised. That way that there is no, trust me, bro, there is no, okay, well, what happens if we get a new legislators in and they decide we're going to change the rules? Can we put those emissions into smart contracts? And I'm all for it. I'm also a Bitcoin, or not Bitcoin, a blockchain maxi. Like I love the idea of this these hard rules, use blockchain for what it is. The huge downside to it is that it prevents us from being flexible. If something crazy happens and we can't, there's no changing it. There's no going through and saying, okay, we're going to go ahead and change these rules. But I'm still for it. But I would like to have an open conversation about it to see what you guys think. Am I just too blockchain maxi where most people in the world don't actually care about this and they're fine with the status quo of all of the other blockchains and should, because it would hurt the operations side to be less flexible. And it wouldn't be worth it to do it for the sake of doing it unless the community members actually cared. Does that make sense? And I'm a community member and I care, but I'm just one. I'm only one person. So I would love your guys' thoughts on it overall.
We could go the complete opposite metric and open things up for like true give to the Void token true governance powers and incentivize people to provide their own voting. And that's like the complete opposite direction of what you're just saying.
What do you mean?
I mean, like give more governance power to token holders,
So
individuals.
they're not really I'm by the way we are going that direction as well to make sure that the individuals can delegate appropriately, but I'm actually literally talking about, rather than the tokens being in wallets that can be dictated what to do, put the treasury into a smart contract that limits the amount of tokens that can even be moved based off the actual emissions itself. And so like this, that means that we look at that Medium article and we put through a motion from the community through you guys to say, we want this emission schedule to be locked in forever. We wanted this to be it.
Would we not need some flexibility to change? Because if it's so rigid, wouldn't it?
I mean, you could build in flexibility. It makes the smart contracts a lot harder, but to actually build, because what you could do is that you could make it maybe put some type of DAO. Like I would be against it. I would, if we'd go this direction, I would say, okay, well, let's lock it in. Let's say, yes, this is the rules and we will lock it in for this. And you know that nobody can come through and change their mind. You can believe it. You can believe that this is the mission schedule. Similar like Bitcoin, you know when the halving happens, you know how much tokens are coming out, you know when it's coming out, and that's the only tokens available. It's similar to that.
Yeah, make it more difficult for any type of 51 attack or changing up the system.
Exactly. So, because if you make it flexible, then you're inserting a exploitable thing. Because now what happens is like, okay, well, now there's a hole there. We can actually remove the actual limits now. Let's go ahead and do a 51% attack to get around it. So, in theory, if everything on paper, it makes sense to lock it in. But once again, like if people don't care, If the community doesn't care, 'cause I asked the community this morning on my tweet to let me know what you think. Nobody's replied yet. It could be that my tweet was too long and nobody actually fully read it, which is very possible. But it's something that I think about because I think you guys know me. I am the living embodiment of blockchain. So like I like the idea. I like the rigidity, but I could also see where it could really break down if for some reason something crazy happens and we need access to a larger part of the supply to fix it. But that's also, the problem that the United States gets into. It's like, oh no, we have a pandemic. We need to print $4 trillion. It's not necessarily, maybe not a good thing, but at the same time, maybe if they didn't have that ability, it would completely crush the United States. So you know what I'm saying? Where it's like the flexibility is beneficial just in case, but also then requires trust that the people with the keys don't go haywire.
Yeah, giving it, I think, more thought, I think I agree. Because if it is rigid, then you just work around it. If stuff starts happening, you just have to adapt, right?
Yeah, I mean it's one of those things where it's like, okay, well, maybe we'll have our version of the pandemic, and we go, well, I guess people are gonna die. You know what I mean?
Well, I mean, the schedule then is deterministic, right? I mean, we just, yeah, I actually like that. Just adapt to any situations that arise, and it is what it is. You can't change it. It's going to happen.
Where's that Dolph Lundgren meme? If he dies, he dies.
Exactly.
But I'm for it. I'm also a weirdo. So like I don't want to push my belief there to you guys. This is something that I would really love it to come from the community as a whole. The community to come out and say, I actually care about this. And because if that's not the case, there's tons of added benefit of being flexible. So talk amongst yourselves, talk amongst your community that you support, see what they think.
In some ways, it's like the Bitcoin versus ETH kind of model where basically Bitcoin is really difficult to try to make any changes to. In ETH, I mean, they went through multiple different situations where they had to intervene and change, consensus, the DAO hack, switching over to proof of stake as well. Like
I mean, it's similar. Like all of the Ethereum changes were like technical changes, except for, I mean, even the fork was a technical change.
That DAO hack there.
The DAO
But
hack.
I mean, they kind of had to do that.
Yeah, but it's not like they created new tokens. They just restarted the chain. You know what I mean? So,
They did change the consensus there.
and but it's technical. Man, anyway, it's nitpicky at this point. But the main thing is like, what do we believe as a whole? Like I feel that Voi's ethos is actually more towards the whole smart contract rigidity of everything. And like the good news is like the contracts that Shelly has put together for the airdrops are actually very, very similar to the contracts we would use for this. So like the way if the community wants this, and once again, nothing is being moved until the people watching this, until people say, okay, this is something important, we should do that because it's not worth doing unless there's actually like a majority want for this to happen. But the flow of this would be Shanti keeps doing what she's doing by splitting up the pies into different wallets, so it is trackable. And at that point, the wallets would then move their remaining balance into a smart contract that locks up that balance, that gives that wallet that she already created access to it based off of a schedule. So it's a natural progression of what Shanti is actually doing. It's not a big thing, but it also, yeah, like I think it's cool. It's something unique and special, but not worth it for the sake of doing it, you know? So like I haven't like heard anyone other than you guys say, "Oh yeah, let's do it." Like from since this morning. I mean, giving people time to wake up and stuff, but
I mean, it's a thought-provoking, um, you know, discussion and topic. So it's something that like putting me on the or us on the spot in 5 minutes. I think I need to put a little bit more thought into it, and like you said, talk to the community a little bit more and figure
yeah.
out what their feedback is and
What is it?
how they're.
Tacos space tonight? Maybe bring it up in taco space if anybody goes.
And I can bring it up in mine as well.
Yours
Um,
is tonight too.
yeah, yeah. Um, so yeah, it's one of those things that I think needs definitely a lot more thought into it. But I did put some thought into other ways to leverage, tokens and trying to get some more economic activity going on. And one of the things that I thought was kind of fun, way back when in the algo space that got a lot of excitement. And I think it could potentially be applied in some way, shape, or form, whether it be through an NFT project or through some other type of DeFi project, is some type of burn mechanism. If you remember the Burnament with Algorillas, there was a lot of engagement going on there. I don't know, maybe it's some type of pixel mob puts out a coin and has a burnament type of thing where you burn your NFTs in exchange for the coin, and then you can LP that, and then you get extra yield and rewards. I, I'm not sure exactly how it would look, but I'm just thinking outside the box of ways to kickstart some economic activity on chain. And I think that that would be a fun, engaging way where we know that community members in the past have been engaged in this way. I don't know how many of us that did it or participated in it in like Burnament type of things or dynamic
A lot of my
burning
good algorithms died that
NFT
day.
programs or anything like that, but I think they're fun. So I don't know, just a thought, just an idea. Figured I'd throw that out there because I put a little bit more thought into that than the heart consensus changing and all that fun stuff.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I like the idea, like Burnaments. We have to make sure that we link it back to the use of Voy to doing so, and I guess it would be buying the NFTs and then burning them and wanting to buy more. Um, but we need more utility, like
And
maybe from
like
our
to
developers.
find a way to LP it, and figure out if that NFT project wants to submit for some type of DeFi incentive or something like that. I don't know. I'm just hucking ideas out here.
Yeah, I mean, the whole like investment side of things is like it's that's one direction, but honestly, the other thing to think about is like happiness. Like using void to make yourself happy. It's kind of like a more abstract way of thinking, but I mean, I use like we should use dorks as an example. Like the dork value right now is a lot is based on happiness. Being part of the inner group of like the people that really truly care, like that's worth a lot to a lot of people. And it's not like we can't forget about that side of things either. Like the just how can we make it having fun on blockchain, and like I go back to even this like there was a spaces 2 years ago, the famous algo walk space where tons of algo was just burnt because of me going, this is a cool NFT, and everyone's like, yeah, 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 and it's like buy like it was a
The
lot of
algo trains.
fun.
How about the algo trains?
The algo trains, like there's a lot of
Lord
fun to
Beluga,
it.
the
Yeah.
belugas too. I mean, there have been lots of fun, engaging spaces, and I don't know, like what was it about those that really got people going? What was the utility? I know the algo walks was kind of like a
There was no, it was literally fun.
yeah.
It was that viral fun nature of like doing stupid shit with your friends. You know what I mean? We need to make sure we think about
Or
those things more.
we need Chubbs V3 and just a massive amount of them so everybody can just mint the heck out of them like we did in testnet.
And burn them.
Exactly. Burn them for a chance at, a node that's got a bunch of voice staked on it. I don't know, something like that would be
Burn him
kind
for a chance to go visit Haruf at his house.
of. There's that too.
No one wants that.
No one wants that. But yeah, things like that. Where we just need to think about like the fun side of things, not like the utility side of things as well. Of course, like what can we do on chain? Getting more products on chain, like getting a RWA on chain where you can actually like buy something like that, where you're taking Voy and then you're getting things out of it. Like we got to think like a lot of utility. So like I go back to urging our builders to tokenize their products. I think like that 100% needs to happen. And we need to get Taco to come over, the actual Taco coin to come over. We need to get a lot of these community coins come over. And we just need to have a lot of fun on the chain. Like it's like, yes, I know Voy has lots of potential as far as a platform goes and owned by the community, but we can't forget about fun either. So think about those things.
Yeah, I mean, another kind of idea too, is, we're right around the holidays here. There should maybe be some type of project that's trying to do some type of donation fundraising. Um, and I think that could potentially get, some level of engagement going as well. That's fun and rewarding, and I don't know, maybe not everybody's cup of tea, but I think it's a good idea. Like the St. Jude's, partnerships and those types of things as well. So
I agree. I agree. Shanti, what do you got? What kind of sync can you come up with?
I like Bagman's idea. I think that would be fun. Maybe we can make it competitive in some way. And even if we were to get like one well-known donor, I feel like it would also bring us credibility.
I mean that what like old school like I don't know if you guys did this back in the day, but like back in elementary school it was like a charity drive where everybody tried to get individuals to actually donate, and we could give everybody their own code, and then you could just go to everybody be like, hey, put some Voy in this, put some Voy in this.
yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking, and then maybe there's, I don't know, giveaways along the way too, and other incentives for people to participate. And it just, throws us out there even more. But it's also one of those like, hey, we gotta start moving quickly because holidays, it makes sense right now. And, not that it doesn't make sense to do something like that when it's not the holidays, because of course people are in need all year round, but it just kind of fits with what's going on. And yeah, I think also after the election, we'll see how people are feeling overall, and we might want to be doing something good in the world to counteract some bad feelings.
I agree. I agree. Yeah, we're whatever happens with election, we'll be fine.
Oh yeah, I'm not worried
So
about it.
one of the things that's I just thought about this, and I was actually thinking about this morning. So like the whole meme coin CTO craze. Like I wonder if there's actually a way to like, cause like honestly, we are already like we started CTO. It's community takeover. Like for the non-degens out there, and that's kind of like when like people dumped and then the community took over and there's a pump again. Like I wonder if there's a way to tap into Void being the CTO chain. Period.
I mean, that just sounds to me like a perfect meme campaign. You know, you just have to will it into existence.
Exactly.
But through memes is probably
Through
the
memes.
best way to like associate people with it.
Right on. Dave, you didn't comment about the whole locking up the treasury and smart contracts. What do you think?
I would love that. I think that is the right way to do it. Like, you know, I agree though. There's something scary about that. I wouldn't do it with like hastily. It would be like I wouldn't do it tomorrow. I'd do it and like work out the details over a very long period of time, at least a year. Um, but I think like as a long-term goal, I think that it makes complete sense.
Yeah.
Definitely seems like a pros and cons type of thing where we should be deliberating and really get hashing out all the pros and cons on how things might look
Mhm.
5, 10, 15 years out.
I think it creates a certain level of confidence. Like right now, it's just written on paper, and it's like that paper can change, and this council can change things about it, and that to put limitations on what can be changed creates long-term confidence that you can't create any other way, and it takes
Mhm.
advantage of what I think is so cool about blockchain, which is the immutability of things.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah, like I agree with you, Dave. I agree with you. I mean, I obviously that's the reason why I brought it up. But we can't do it because it's like because it's cool. Like there has to be actual demand for it. Like if it like cool is cool, but like if more people would come to it, more people would trust it, more people would come and just believe in Void because of that. I mean, like you guys have the benefit of talking to me for years now. There comes obviously some trust, like the things that I say, or I actually mean it because I, you know, have a history now of following through. New people don't know me. They just see a beautiful, handsome guy with a beard, and they don't know the like that, and that's it. So having the smart contracts, so we can point like, listen, like it doesn't matter what this gorgeous man with a beard says or what this council says of other beautiful people. We can just look at the smart contracts and see like this is what it is. And even if they are bad actors, they can only be bad actors for this much of because all of this is still locked up. So, like, I think the first step would be to lock up the emissions, but the next step is to actually put the access to those tokens all through smart contracts, meaning that instead instead of the signatories having access to it, it requires actual on-chain voting that has the ability to be removing people through more voting. You know what I mean? So build the full thing like that. That's the
Yeah, like a true DAO.
epitome of everything. But it's getting closer to those steps.
And I think there's a certain marketing campaign that would go along with that. I'm assuming this is fairly novel. I don't know. Like maybe there's some research that needs to be done to see if anyone has accomplished something quite like that. But if we were going to go forward with it, it would. I think there's a lot of cool marketing that could come out of that as like a novel governance process that is truly ingrained in the chain itself, and blah blah blah.
Agreed. Cool. Well, that's enough me yapping about. Anything you guys want to bring up?
Zarmian, what do you think about like burn incentives and NFT projects? Maybe it's something the Board Crepes or OnlyFans could pump out a token and do some burns. I know it's maybe not the right fit because you guys have your matching NFTs and everything, but just the idea in general. What do you think?
Yeah, I don't know. My concern becomes like how complicated things become. Like it's like if you're there from the beginning and you followed along the whole time, then it might make sense. But like when you want to be able to attract people down the road that just come across something and it's like, oh well, you got to burn this and then you got to do this and it becomes over time becomes complicated. So that would be probably my only real concern there, because anything else could be kind of worked out, I think. But I don't know. I've never
Definitely
been
valid.
particularly great with tokenomics, which is how I ended up here.
Yeah, I could definitely see how that'd be confusing. And then definitely on NFT projects, in some cases, you're like, oh, it was 10,000 and now it's 3,205. How did we get there? If you're like just coming into the space and yeah.
Yeah, I'm always trying to think of it from the perspective of like someone who has no idea and they're coming in like fresh, like keeping that barrier as low as possible. Otherwise, if you can't bring in new people and new interest because it's too complicated, then what do you have? You got a bunch of overcomplicated stuff that we're all trading back and forth or playing with. But
Totally.
yeah, you wanna kind of grow. That's all.
Cool. I would just only really caution is like we don't need ideas that are forever ideas. We can have temporary good ideas. So like these things like these flash in the pan exciting things we should do. Like the Pixel Mob launch yesterday was awesome.
Yeah.
A lot of excitement. The most amount of tweets about Voy I've seen in a while. Bringing in more people from other chains. I think that's we could think about how to build on top of that. It's like, okay, well, now that you received a free mint, can we create something else? Like, can Kinesis give everybody that got a free mint a special color to their wallet? Things of that sort where it's like, okay, oh, and I got this thing. Oh, and I got this thing. You know what I mean? Where it's like, oh, now we're establishing some type of pattern, some type of like loyalty of like, oh, now I have this, I have that. Maybe I don't know, do something like for the next week, if you have a Pixel Mob NFT, you get no fees on swapping on Humble. You know what I mean? Like where it's much more collaborative, much more okay. Oh, this is cool. Let's build on top of that. That's cool. Let's build on top of that. Maybe the dorks will say, okay, well, if you got it free mint, you'll be in a drawing to actually get a free mint for the chubs, or you know what I mean? Like let's capitalize on the exciting things to keep it rolling. So if you're connected to any projects out there, talk to them. See, like, think about like what you can do to do something like Karen. You do something as simple as I don't know if to do this is that anybody that got a whitelist token can get free access to the beta mobile Kinesis. You know what I mean? Where it's like, hey, like, even if like you might not sound exciting, but anything is something.
Both Zarmin and I got pretty excited about that though.
Yeah, that sounded good to me.
But those type of things where it's like, okay, well, what can we do? What can we urge our community to be collaborative with? Like Pixelmob did an amazing job yesterday. Like, how do we pick them up? How can us as a council member reward them? Maybe what we can do, hell, what if we as council members, you as council members, decide to do a small 10 Voy airdrop to everybody that got a waitlist? Like it's not much. Do something to all of the people that are like all new wallets. Screw all of the current people. Just kidding. But like here's 10 more Voy to go try things.
It's kind of interesting. That idea makes me think of that unicorn meme on ETH, or like it's like a not even an ETH thing. It was basically its own chain that would give out airdrops of its tokens to other people who were holding NFT projects that joined their like unicorn collective, essentially. And so it was another way to incentivize more NFT projects to basically participate in this collective. And maybe we could do something like that where there's not a ton of NFT projects right now, but it could be a way to get more NFT projects going, and then also a way for us in some ways to identify somewhat certified projects that have been kind of in some ways approved by the community, if you will, that these are good projects, that they have, the right backing, they're not going to rug you. And if you hold them, there might be a schedule of airdrops that come out over time or something like that.
What if we do something like
I know that's complicated, but it just
here's something to be fun. What if, because I know that Alpha, that there's a potential namespace project coming along. What if like we announce that everybody that has five or more of the pixel mobs gets a pixel mob subdomain namespace. You know what I mean? Where it's like, here you go.
definitely interesting.
Yeah, something to think about like that way. Where it's like this feels like a really cool thing where we could do something. We have to do something. We have to capitalize on this excitement. So think about it. You too, Karen, owner of Cubesis.
Yeah, I will. I've got Benny on my back as well about the tokens.
Excellent. Well, that's everything for me. I think Shanti, you never have to worry about not having an agenda. You can just say, Chris, talk for an hour.
I don't know, I thought it was an interesting discussion. You know, definitely lots to think about and lots to discuss with the broader community. I know Haruf and I have been kind of talking on the side a little bit about some different NFT projects, and I've been thinking about potentially putting something out that's. I have an artist that I'd like to introduce into the space more so than anything else. But I think there could be some other incentives that are built into it. I just need to put some more thought into, how it goes and how appealing the idea is to the broader community. It might
Yeah.
appeal to me, but it might not necessarily appeal to everybody else.
Yeah. But the seed I want to put in all of your heads is all about keeping the momentum going. Like the pixel mobs obviously has momentum. How do we keep that momentum going? So that's a challenge for all of you, Shanti, Bill, Cody, and all of the council. I want all of you to think of one way to actually keep the momentum of Pixel Mob going before we meet next.
I like it.
Awesome. I will as well. Because like the other thing too that I really don't want to do is be all talk. Like us having these discussions is great because it's brainstorming, but if things don't come out of it, this is bullshit. This is just us making ourselves feel better. So let's make something happen. Awesome. Shanti, back to you.
Okay, so we'll add it for next. Well, hopefully people can come back. We can all come back with one idea by next week. I'll add it to the agenda. That's all for me. If anyone has anything in the last 6 minutes that they want to discuss or bring up?
Thank you everybody for watching on, is it YouTube or where are you posting this, Cody? Nice. So thank you everybody watching on YouTube. Love you.
And I like this new format of being able to start with them. It's a big deal.
Shanti.
Okay.
Close her down.
Okay, well, thanks everyone. And we have a lot of proposals to get pushed over the line, the October ones, so you can save your evenings and afternoons. Okay, bye.
Thank you all. Bye.
Bye.